Some FPS games are forgotten the minute the campaign ends. Others stay with you forever. They have intense stories, unforgettable combat, and worlds so well built that it's impossible to put the controller down. This list is all about those games, single-player campaigns that deliver not just action, but moments you'll remember with every bullet fired. If you're truly into FPS games, this video is for you. I'm Jax, and if you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel, where I bring you daily content so you never miss a beat in the gaming world. If you can subscribe and help me grow, I'd really appreciate it from one gamer to another. Before we get started, tell me in the comments what's the best FPS campaign you've ever played. That one game that hooked you from beginning to end and stayed in your mind for days. Now let's begin. Titanfall 2 dropped into a sea of generic shooters and stood out with a shockingly creative and emotional campaign. The connection between Pilot and Titan goes far beyond expectations, delivering intense, well-directed moments and even some powerful twists. Each mission brings something new, switching up the pacing and mechanics in ways that keep things unpredictable. It grabs you in the first few minutes and doesn't let go until the screen fades to black. And even then, you'll want to play it again. The combat is pure addiction. Wall running, parkour, frantic shootouts, and Titan battles all blend seamlessly into a flow that feels effortless. You're constantly in control, rush into a room at full speed, or take your time and plan every move, it all works. The weapon variety helps a lot too, offering distinct guns that actually feel different from one another. What really hits is how each level tries something different. Whether you're messing with time, exploring collapsing environments, or surviving large-scale battles, the game never gets lazy. Everything feels purposeful. The design is bold, clever, and always keeps you wondering what's next. It's rare to see an FPS offer so much variety while still staying focused, and the campaign hits the sweet spot. No filler, just pure gameplay. Even years later, there's still a sense of injustice that so many people missed it. It's one of the few shooters that tells a gripping story without sacrificing action. A memorable game with soul, weight, and creativity. If you've never played Titanfall 2, you honestly have no idea what you're missing. Call of Duty Modern Warfare set out to modernize the franchise, and it did that by delivering one of the most intense campaigns in the series. With a more grounded narrative, the game throws you into urban war zones, tactical strikes, and tense moments that flirt with real discomfort. Everything feels closer, rawer, dirtier, and that's exactly where it shines. This reimagined version is brutal, dramatic, and way more immersive than anyone expected. Gameplay still has that sharp, fast-paced rhythm. Night raid missions with thermal vision are tense from start to finish. You never know if you'll open a door and find an enemy or a civilian. The game knows how to back you into a corner. Gunplay feels fierce. The sound, the impact, the movement, everything is razor sharp. Every step feels like it matters. The levels mix things up between tactical ops, large-scale warfare, and slower, high-stress moments. There's a constant feeling of being deep in hostile territory. It's not just run and gun, you have to think, choose, and try not to lose yourself in the chaos. Tight spaces and unpredictable danger add to the pressure. The atmosphere is always heavy, almost suffocating, and it works. Even with all the realism, it never forgets it's still Call of Duty. There are explosions, cinematic shootouts, and wild set pieces. But now, all of it comes with a narrative that dares to provoke, to question, and to stick in your head. It's a game that breaks the routine, and it works. In the end, what grips you most is how close it all feels to real life. Doom Eternal doesn't waste a second. Right from the start, it throws you into mayhem. With an insane pace that only gets faster, everything runs on chaos, stylized violence, and non-stop adrenaline. But don't be fooled. Beneath all that brutality is a polished game, with technical combat, tight rhythm, and a hellish world full of personality. Stop moving, and you die. The more aggressive you are, the more you're rewarded. Combat is a frenzied dance of movement, shooting, and resource management. You kill to survive, executions for health, chainsaw for ammo, flamethrower for armor. It's a vicious loop that forces you to stay active. Each fight feels like a gladiator arena, with enemy types closing in from every angle, pushing you to make fast choices and land precise hits. There's no room for hesitation. The environments are huge, detailed, and packed with secrets. Verticality adds a new layer, forcing you to think in 3D and explore every corner between fights. And even amid the chaos, the game builds a lore-filled narrative, with ancient wars and a hero so legendary even demons respect him. The visuals and intensity scream violence and scale in every frame. It's the kind of campaign that leaves your heart pounding for hours and drenches you in sweat by the end. Doom Eternal. is raw intensity, no filler, no breaks. It knows exactly what it wants to be, a stylish, smart massacre, and it delivers that flawlessly. It never lets up, and when it ends, all you want is more. Wolfenstein The New Order may look simple at first, but it delivers a surprisingly emotional and impactful campaign. It takes a classic franchise and injects it with a powerful narrative, strong characters, and a bizarre alternate world where the Nazis won the war. The game blends fast-paced action with dramatic storytelling, creating something far deeper than expected. It's violent, it's over the top, but it knows when to get serious. Combat is solid, with heavy weapons, bloody firefights, and plenty of room for creativity. You can go loud or stay sneaky. Guns feel hefty, loud, and often hilariously overpowered in the best way. And the game gives you room to play with that. Each level is a sandbox where your approach matters. Nothing feels forced. Environments vary wildly. Underground bunkers, occupied cities, ruins, even moon bases, all with their own flavor. There's a constant sense of urgency, and the game reminds you often that the world has become a nightmare. Even with all the sci-fi chaos, the story grounds itself in tough choices and human moments. It balances the absurd with real emotion, and that keeps the campaign fresh. It's one of the rare FPS games that takes risks with its writing and actually pulls it off. Amid all the insanity, you still care about what's at stake. The ending hits hard, the pacing holds up, and every level brings something new. Wolfenstein The New Order is brutal, wild, and surprisingly heartfelt. Easily one of the best FPS reboots ever made. Halo the Master Chief Collection is more than just a bundle, it's a deep dive into one of the most iconic FPS campaigns in history. With multiple games in one package, you witness the franchise's evolution from the very beginning, with graphic and technical upgrades that still respect the originals. The narrative blends epic sci-fi with intimate, heroic moments, and even now, it's still impressive. Combat has always been the franchise's core, and it still shines. Every weapon has its place, enemies react smartly, and vehicles bring a fresh layer of action. The rechargeable shield and movement mechanics rewrote the FPS rulebook, and even today, mowing down alien hordes still feels massive in scale. The progression is natural, and the battles are unforgettable. Each game in the collection has its own feel, from the tension and mystery of the first to the large-scale battles of the sequels. You travel through alien worlds, ruined ships, ancient structures, all with strong atmosphere and world building. The environments are unique, making you feel like you're truly fighting for something bigger. There are iconic moments everywhere. Even if you've never played Halo, this collection is the perfect way to start. And if you have, it's a polished return to greatness. It's hours of high-quality campaign content, packed with moments that shaped an entire generation of shooters, a true celebration of one of gaming's greatest universes. Atomic Heart throws you into an alternate Soviet reality where advanced technology has spiraled out of control. The premise is already intriguing, but it's the execution that surprises. The game blends brutal combat, exploration, and a unique atmosphere full of bizarre enemies and environments that feel like a twisted tech nightmare. It's an FPS with a strong identity, strange, intense, and often unsettling. Combat mixes intense gunfights with special abilities and improvised weapons. You'll need to manage ammo, unleash elemental powers, and carefully choose your strategies. Enemies are unpredictable and aggressive, which makes every encounter tense. Movement is fluid, and there's plenty of room to improvise. Every fight feels different, and the game constantly pushes you out of your comfort zone. The environments are a show of their own. You'll go through abandoned labs, secret facilities, and utopian cities turned rotten, all with bold, almost surreal art direction. Some parts feel like psychological horror, others like straight-up action, and many blend both. Even with clear influences from Bioshock and Half-Life, the game manages to carve out its own space, with its own rhythm and surprises. Not everything works perfectly, but it's one of the boldest games in recent years. It has soul, it has style, and it's not afraid to get weird. Atomic Heart may not be for everyone, but if you give in to the chaos, you'll find an intense, disturbing, and full of personality campaign. It's worth a shot just to see how far it's willing to go. Rage 1 and 2 share the same post-apocalyptic world, but offer very different campaigns. The first is more contained, focusing on atmosphere and linear missions that feel like classic shooters. The second goes all in on chaos, with fast-paced gunplay and a vibrant open world. Despite the tonal shift, both deliver intense combat and worlds full of personality. Each hits a different mark, and together they form a curious duo. The original Rage is more serious and methodical, with solid weapons, gritty art direction, and brutal enemy encounters. Rage 2, on the other hand, lets you loose. Armed vehicles, special powers, and non-stop momentum take the lead. The shift between calm and full-blown chaos is nearly instant, and the gameplay rewards aggression. Movement freedom becomes addicting. Visually, Rage 2 is more colorful and wild, while the first game is dry and desolate. Both feature interesting maps with enemy camps, wrecked areas, and stretches of road where anything can happen. The second can get repetitive in structure, but the action is so fast-paced it barely matters. The first offers a tighter atmosphere and well-built tension. Even with their flaws, these two FPS games deliver straight-up action without wasting time. They don't try to reinvent the genre, but they know how to have fun with it. And even if many have forgotten them, they're worth revisiting, whether for the raw edge of the first or the reckless speed of the second. If you like your firefights with impact, both go way further than you'd expect. Crysis Remastered brings back a campaign that was once the gold standard for technical performance, and it still impresses. But it's more than just a graphical benchmark. It's a smart tactical FPS with open-ended missions you can tackle however you want. The iconic nano suit isn't just for looks, it's your full loadout, letting you switch between strength, speed, stealth, and armor. That changes everything. Gunplay is intense, but never rushed. You can go full stealth, silently taking enemies down, or charge in, wrecking vehicles and blowing things up. The game gives you total freedom. Weapons feel precise and satisfying, and enemy AI reacts well. There's always more than one way to approach a situation, and the constant sense of control makes you feel like a true super soldier in a military sandbox. The tropical island setting is still stunning, with dense jungles, abandoned villages, and enemy bases. The physics engine still holds up, everything breaks, flies, or explodes. Even though the remaster plays it safe, the visuals remain striking. And when the alien threat finally kicks in, the tone shifts, which some love and others don't, but it definitely brings epic moments. The final stretch is more linear, but packed with action. Crysis remains one of the most flexible FPS games ever made. It doesn't force you to follow a script, it hands you the tools and lets you figure things out. The campaign has aged well, and proves that freedom and creativity still work beautifully in a pure action game. If you've never played it, the remaster is a perfect excuse. And if you have, it's a great reminder of why Can It Run Crysis became a classic joke. Prey is a game that bends the definition of an FPS. Sure, it has guns, combat, and action, but what makes it special is the atmosphere, the story, and the freedom it gives you. You wake up alone on an abandoned space station and quickly realize nothing is what it seems. Isolation, paranoia, and constant mistrust follow your every step. It's as if the place itself is watching you. Combat is tense, but not traditional. Enemies are unpredictable and deadly, forcing constant improvisation. The arsenal is unusual, with tools like the glue cannon to create paths and barriers, and the shotgun, your best friend when things get rough. Then come the alien powers that flip everything. You can morph into objects, teleport, or manipulate your surroundings in creative ways. The game's biggest strength is freedom. Talos Eye is a massive interconnected station with multiple ways to reach any area. Hack, climb, blast, or sneak, it's all possible. Missions have different solutions, and your choices shape the story's direction. The tension never lets up. The sound design, music, and layout constantly remind you that you're trapped in something much larger and far more dangerous than you expected. Prey is smart, bold, and underrated. It's not for those who just want to shoot and move on. It demands attention, exploration, and thoughtful decision-making. But if you get in sync with its rhythm, you'll find one of the most original FPS campaigns of the last decade. A game that mixes horror, sci-fi, and freedom in brilliant ways. And it deserves way more love than it got. Bright Memory Infinite is short, straight to the point, and an absolute visual showcase. Made by a single developer, it impresses with lightning-fast shootouts, stylish melee combat, and a world that blends sci-fi with Chinese mythology. It doesn't waste a second. From the opening shot to the final boss, it's high-speed action made to wow you. And it succeeds. Gameplay is where it truly shines. You switch between slicing, shooting, and special abilities in seconds, creating a flow that feels like a first-person hack and slash. Timing and combos are key to survival, guns feel powerful, and your powers open up tons of options. Combat is fluid, flashy, and all about staying in motion. Standing still is never safe. The environments are insanely detailed, rain, neon, dynamic lighting, all making it feel next-gen. Despite the short length, levels are diverse and packed with set pieces. There are chases, shootouts on collapsing bridges, fights in futuristic temples, all paced at full throttle. It feels like a tech demo with heart, short but intense. Bright Memory Infinite isn't perfect, but it's bold, stylish, and refreshingly unique. It's the kind of game that proves passion and creativity go a long way, even with limited resources. Instead of promising the world, it delivers a compact punch of action. And if you're into fast, flashy FPS games with flair, this one's a no-brainer. Fast, brutal, and gorgeous in motion. Sniper Elite Resistance brings the series to a more personal and dramatic level, focusing on secret resistance missions during World War II. Instead of massive battles, you play as an infiltrator, sabotaging Nazi facilities, rescuing allies, and taking down key targets. It's all about precision, patience, and planning. And when it all clicks, it feels like tactical cinema. Gameplay rewards those who think before they shoot. Marking targets, studying routes, using distractions, and finding the perfect angle are the foundation of the campaign, and when that shot lands, you get the iconic X-ray cam showing bones shattering in slow motion, still incredibly satisfying. There's freedom in how you approach each mission, but stealth and strategy always pay off the most. That makes every successful shot even more rewarding. The maps are open, filled with multiple objectives and paths to complete them. You can follow your plan, improvise mid-mission, or unleash chaos if things go sideways. The setting is grounded: occupied towns, forests, castles, underground hideouts. Each mission feels like its own operation, with a beginning, middle, and end. That structure adds weight to every choice and builds real tension. Even as part of a long-running series, Resistance stands out on its own. It's less about spectacle, more about focus. Less bullets, more precision. And that's exactly why it works. It offers a solid, tense, and memorable campaign. If you enjoy slow-burn action where every move matters, this one's a perfect pick. A game that respects the silence before the shot. Dying Light blends first-person action, parkour, and survival horror in a way that sounds like it shouldn't work, but it absolutely does. The quarantine city is brutal, packed with infected, and full of traps and danger. By day, it's tense. By night, it's terrifying. The campaign throws you into a political and moral conflict, with survivors fighting over resources and control, while the world around them literally falls apart. Movement is one of the game's biggest strengths. You'll sprint across rooftops, scale buildings, and grab onto ledges to escape danger. Combat is raw and up close, focused on makeshift melee weapons. Guns do exist, but they're rare and way too loud. You're forced to think fast and adapt constantly, and when night falls, enemies evolve faster, stronger, and far more terrifying. The city feels alive, chaotic, and full of opportunities. There are ambushes, quarantine zones, survivors calling for help, and secrets hidden in dark alleys. The campaign mixes main missions with choices that actually shape the story. Nothing is just black and white. You're constantly torn between what's right and what's necessary, and that makes every step feel heavier. Even with all the chaos and scares, it's the sense of urgency that keeps you hooked. The tension of racing against the clock, planning each escape, looking over your shoulder and seeing something chasing you. Dying Light isn't just about killing zombies, it's about surviving in a world where everything is wrong. And just when things seem calm, that's when the game hits you hardest. Cyberpunk 2077 may have stumbled at launch, but its main campaign has always been strong. The story drags you into the underbelly of a decaying, chaotic metropolis where corporations rule everything and every choice might cost your life. It blends philosophy, survival, and existential dread, all while keeping a deeply human core. It's dirty, dark, and fascinating. And the deeper you go, the harder it is to stop. Gameplay has improved massively. Combat feels smoother, abilities pack more punch, and movement opens up multiple approaches, whether brute force, stealth, or cyber hacks. The arsenal is varied and responsive, and close quarters fights feel like a solid FPS with tactical depth. The progression system encourages customization, and you can feel the impact of your choices in how you play. The city is a character in itself. Each district has its own culture, factions, and problems. The main missions are intense and well-directed, with twists, powerful scenes, and choices that actually change the outcome. And the side quests? Far from filler, they help build this cruel, fascinating world. Everything has context, purpose, and narrative weight. Nothing's there just for show. Today, with all the updates, the game finally delivers on its promise. The single-player campaign is gripping, full of memorable moments and deep questions. It's a heavy journey, sometimes suffocating, but always interesting. One of the richest first-person worlds ever created. If you gave up early, it's time to reconsider, because now Cyberpunk 2077 is worth every minute. Borderlands 3 sticks to the formula of chaos, insane guns, and sharp humor. The series is known for, but cranks it all up to 11. The campaign is long, packed with action, and takes you across different planets with unique visual styles. It's all about loot and intense shootouts, but the game knows how to keep things fresh with varied environments and objectives. It's loud, ridiculous, and fully aware of it. That's why it works. Gameplay is non-stop madness. You're always running, shooting, blowing stuff up, and swapping guns every 5 minutes. And there are tons of guns, literally thousands. Each one has different stats, effects, and behavior. Combat demands constant movement and a solid grasp of your class abilities. And even in solo play, the challenge is fun and rewarding. The cel-shaded visuals are signature Borderlands, and the environments range from deserts and swamps to decaying space stations. The story is wild, packed with jokes and surreal moments, but there's also room for more serious beats. The villains are over the top but memorable, and the main missions always aim to surprise, whether it's with weird bosses or unexpected objectives. This is a game that doesn't take itself seriously, and that's what keeps you engaged. The solo campaign is packed with content and designed to get you addicted to loot. It doesn't try to reinvent the wheel, but delivers explosive action, creative weapons, and a chaotic universe with its own flavor. Borderlands 3 knows exactly what it is, and if you're in the mood for noise and mayhem, it brings it from start to finish. Bulletstorm is loud, ridiculous, and built to reward you for playing as creatively and insanely as possible. The campaign is a non-stop chain of chaos, explosive shootouts, sharp humor, and a scoring system that pushes you to kill with style. Nothing here is subtle. You rack up points for impaling enemies, kicking them into traps, or electrocuting them mid-air. And the best part, it all works flawlessly at high speed. Gameplay revolves around the skill shot system, turning combat into a playground for creativity. You mix guns, powers, and environmental traps to create over-the-top kills. Each one earns you points, which you use to upgrade weapons and unlock new abilities. The energy leash, the power kick, and the insane arsenal make combat totally addictive. It's not just about winning, it's about humiliating enemies with flair. The campaign takes you through crashing ships, collapsing cities, explosive deserts, and insane research labs. The pace is relentless, filled with cinematic set pieces and absurd moments that work because the game never takes itself too seriously. It's all sarcasm, testosterone, and pure overkill in the best way. The story is simple, but packed with hilarious dialogue and ridiculous situations that keep you entertained. Bulletstorm isn't trying to change the genre. It just wants to remind you that FPS games can be fun, wild, and completely unhinged. And it does that with personality to spare. It's the kind of game that dares you to ditch the basics and embrace the madness. A perfectly timed campaign that insists on being unforgettable, even if it's through kicks, explosions, and bad jokes. Bioshock Infinite takes the FPS genre to a narrative level rarely seen. Instead of the depths of Rapture, you're now floating above Columbia, a city in the clouds, painted with light and patriotic banners, but hiding a suffocating dystopia. The campaign throws you into a storm of themes like racism, fanaticism, civil war, and parallel realities. And the deeper you go, the more the layers peel away until everything explodes. Combat is a mix of traditional guns and powers called Vigors, which let you launch enemies, summon murderous crows, or electrify crowds. The Skyrail system adds speed and verticality. It's not just aim and shoot, it's mastering chaos. As the fights get wilder, you learn to think fast and use the environment to your advantage. The pace is constant, and every encounter stands out. The setting is a show in itself. Columbia is both beautiful and disturbing. The art and sound create a city that feels like a twisted American dream. As the story unfolds, things spiral in unpredictable directions. Reality breaks, identities shift, and fate is questioned. It's an ambitious narrative that demands your attention and rewards you for it. Bioshock Infinite isn't just a great FPS, it's a game that makes you think, feel, and reflect. Despite the non-stop gunfights, the campaign is driven by complex characters and bold ideas. It sticks with you long after the credits roll. One of the finest games of the previous generation, and one you'll want to play at least twice. Metro Last Light drags you into a dark, radioactive world where danger doesn't scream, it whispers. The campaign unfolds in Moscow's metro tunnels after a nuclear war, blending tense combat with horror, survival, and moral choices. The atmosphere is thick, claustrophobic, and suffocating. You feel the weight of every bullet, every gas mask filter running out, every shadow that moves. Gameplay mixes direct combat, stealth, and exploration. Weapons are improvised, and ammo is so scarce it doubles as currency. You're constantly deciding whether to spend bullets or survive. Stealth is solid, and you're free to approach missions your own way. Enemies aren't just mutants. Humans add to the paranoia. Nothing is predictable. The visuals are still impressive. You'll move through abandoned tunnels, bustling stations, dead forests, and ruined surface areas. The sound design pushes into horror territory, distant voices, muffled footsteps, and your own tense breathing behind the mask. It's slow when it needs to be, and brutal when it doesn't give you a choice. Metro Last Light is for those who want heavy atmosphere and a living world. It doesn't shout, it surrounds you and waits for your reaction. And when it's over, you feel like you've been through something big, dirty, and sad. One of the most unique FPS campaigns of the past decade, and still best played in the dark with headphones on. Trepang 2 feels like it came straight from someone who loved Fish and wanted to bring that insane combat to a new generation. The campaign is short but intense, laser-focused on action and mechanics that make you feel unstoppable. You're sliding across floors, slowing time, and blasting enemies with wild force. It's fast, brutal, and stylish, without losing its tactical edge. Gameplay is the beating heart. Bullet time lets you clear rooms in seconds, moving like a ghost, armed to the teeth. Weapon recoil, impact, and enemy reactions make each fight satisfying. And the game wants you to stay aggressive. Hiding means dying. Tight controls and explosive violence turn each battle into a perfectly violent ballet. The setting is cold, industrial, all dark corridors, labs, and military bases, and it works. There's a constant sense of conspiracy, secret experiments, and supernatural elements. Something's always off, and the game delivers sharp moments of horror. The story is direct but effective, told through documents and fragments that expand its shadowy world. Trepang 2 doesn't try to reinvent anything. It wants to give you a sharp, chaotic FPS with insane gameplay, and it nails it. Perfect for fans of slow-motion shootouts and old-school brutality. A short campaign meant to be devoured in one sitting, leaving your head spinning. If raw FPS action is your thing, this one's a must. Portal is one of the smartest, most memorable campaigns ever to come from the FPS genre. Without a single traditional gunfight, it redefines what a first-person game can be, using physics-based puzzles and interdimensional portals. You wake up in a testing facility and are handed a portal gun, and that's all it takes to build brilliant challenges. It starts simple, then turns into a masterclass in design. Gameplay is tight and clever. Using portals to cross rooms, gain speed, or manipulate objects is pure fun. The game never repeats itself. Each chamber introduces a new logic twist, and the difficulty rises perfectly. The learning curve is smooth, but always surprising. You feel like you're slowly mastering the impossible, with mechanics that expand naturally. The atmosphere is quiet, minimal, and strangely eerie. A calm, sarcastic AI watches you and comments as you play. GLaDOS becomes one of the most iconic elements, with her deadpan delivery and increasingly dark humor. As the game unravels, so does everything else, and that's when Portal truly shines. It's not just smart, it's narratively brilliant. Portal is short, but unforgettable. A design masterpiece that uses simplicity as a weapon. Even without guns, it delivers tension, challenge, and iconic moments, and after playing it, you'll never look at a blank wall the same way again. One of those games that changed everything, and no one saw it coming. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is an FPS for those who like to think before pulling the trigger. The campaign throws you into a social war between humans and augmented individuals, in a world torn apart by fear, technology, and political agendas. The story is dense, full of twists and conspiracies, but never forces violence. On the contrary, the game wants you to observe, investigate, and choose. Gameplay is hybrid. You can go in as a silent assassin, a ghost hacker, or a straight-up brute force operator. Every mission has multiple paths, and your cybernetic upgrades change how you interact with the world. Gunplay is solid, but the game constantly encourages other solutions. That makes it all feel more personal. Set in Prague, the world is rich with detail. From hidden alleys to high-end offices, everything tells a story. The atmosphere blends dark tones with sleek, futuristic design. Conversations matter, choices have weight, and dialogue can reshape the entire narrative. It's a tense world where nothing is simple and no one is completely right. Mankind Divided demands focus, patience, and immersion, but it rewards you with a rich, complex campaign full of depth. It values intelligence and freedom, letting you shape your journey through the choices you make. A smart FPS with heart and brain, and a fitting close to this list of unforgettable campaigns. If any of these games ever made you lose track of time, then you already know the power of a good FPS campaign. And if you haven't played some of these yet, maybe it's time to fix that. Drop a comment telling me which one grabbed your attention, or if your favorite campaign didn't make the list. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss future videos. And if you're all about non-stop action, click the card and check out our list of the most intense single-player shooters you need to play.